Coming up next, our next guest is joining me to discuss how ZipLine is supporting the UAV community. And he is ZipLine's Director of UAS Flight Operations. His name is Joseph Marshall. Joseph, thank you so much for being here today. Let me turn the floor over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here and be sharing some information about ZipLine. Let me just go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Okay, so something I'm going to talk about today. We're going to be going over about the ZipLine. Can you see it now? Yeah, stand by. All right. So we'll be talking about just ZipLine in general, introducing North Carolina and others who may not be familiar with ZipLine in terms of what we do. We have our international track record as we've primarily been operating since 2016 in Rwanda and Ghana. We're going to talk about our U.S. R&D effort, and as well as our upcoming commercial launch. A little bit about our flight area here in North Carolina. Some of the key aspects to safety and airspace integration. Talk a little bit about lessons learned as it relates to moving from 107 to 135 and some of the challenges associated there. And then some Q&A if we have time. So I'll keep going. So what is our mission? Well, our mission is to provide every human on Earth with instant access to vital medical support. That is no easy feat, and it's a tremendously challenging and daunting task. Prior to coming to ZipLine, I had the opportunity to be with Amazon Prime Air. A tremendous experience and really enjoyed it. But when the opportunity presented itself to be a part of the ZipLine organization and actually have an opportunity to apply this mission, it was very hard to turn down. But ease of playing there. So absolutely fantastic. We have a long way to go to get to this point. But we have every intent to get there, and we're going to be starting here in the U.S. later. So a little bit about background around kind of our location and investors, partners. We're headquartered in Half Moon Bay, California. We've been around since 2014, but actually operating since around 2016. And you can see 300 plus employees and growing, over 200 million in funding. We are part of some pretty large investment groups to include Google Ventures, as well as our partners in Rwanda, Ghana, the DOT, North Carolina Department of Transportation, all the partners at the FAA for trying to get through the certification efforts. So quite a bit. So what about our aircraft? So unlike traditional, UAS systems that we see in environment today, which would be quadcopters or something similar, we actually more traditional in the sense that we're fixed wing. So it's a little bit more friendly when you look at it, but it is a similar to a traditional aircraft in that regard. We can operate in day and night conditions. We do have full position and strobe lights on board. We have about a 100-mile round trip. We can travel 60 knots. I mean, we're capable of up to 500 deliveries per day. It's a tremendously robust aircraft as well. You'll see a little bit further in the presentation when we talk about some of the safety aspects of our system. But there's several redundancies from the motors to the GPS sensors and flight computers. We take a very robust approach in that regard, since we're flying pretty significant distances in Rwanda and Ghana, with the intent of doing that same mission or having that same mission here in the U.S. So the types of delivery that we currently offer and that we plan to offer are really kind of three categories. So you can see there's acute care, ambulatory clinic, and patient homes. And like all things with UAS, especially here in the U.S., it is a crawl, walk, run. So, we may start with acute care and ambulatory clinics, and as we continue to progress and build up our, operational maturity and rigor, we'll start moving into patient homes. These are things that are part of this IPP program, but also just being part of an organization that naturally matures from a 107 operator into the 135 environment. talk a bit about international track.
Hey guys, it looks like Joseph's screen froze up on us. So I'm going to bring back Rachel because we have a couple of questions from our viewing audience that they wanted to pose to Rachel just based on her presentation. And so, Rachel, let me bring you back into the conversation if you don't mind. The first question comes from Laurent, and he is asking, considering the current crisis slowing down some regulatory efforts, is it planned to extend the existing IPP program beyond 2020 or to initiate a second pilot program in 2021? How can you answer that question for Laurent?